Saturday?
I am I am well, and I recorded an episode earlier today, so we're blessed with
That's
many great
good.
guests.
That's really
Yeah.
good.
All right. Okay, there I am up there. There you are. Okay. Let's go. I might ask you at some point to turn off the camera. That image on your camera is a weird image. Anyway,
All right.
the lighting. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's better. Actually, when you talk, when I turn on the audio, when you talk, you can turn on the video, and then I'll turn off mine, and then it'll have that full, TV show effect. That's fine. But for the
uh,
most part, though, that camera's a little hot.
yeah,
Anyway,
it's a laptop computer. That's
yeah, I
part
can
of the
say, yeah,
reason
yeah, yeah.
why
No
I'm
worries, no
still I'm still
worries.
trying to fix this thing out. I need to get a
Yeah,
new one anyway.
that's a weird that computer came with a weird camera. All right. Anyway, no worries at all. So here we go. Three, two, and one. Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people, where we speak about critical issues in the blindness community and all other issues from across the universe and galaxy. Tonight, or this morning, or today, whenever you watch this, we're joined by our next guest here, Philip. Philip Ramirez joins us now. So, who is Philip or Philip Ramirez? You can go through the whole life story, the IT stuff that you do or don't do, the relationships that you've had or hadn't had. Just dive into who you are as a person, and I'll interject as we walk through the conversation. Your hour starts now.
Thanks, Aaron. It's a pleasure to be on here with ya.
Great having you too.
So yeah, a little bit about myself. I was born in March of 1990. Um, I have two older brothers. I'm the youngest of three boys, um, who are about 11 and 14 years older than me, so I'm still the youngest. I have about a couple of nieces and nephews. Three nephews. Yeah, three nephews, two nieces. Um, I'm a good uncle to them. Love hanging out with them, and I enjoy going to work. I'm a full-time employee for the company called PSI. I have been with the company for about 10 years now, going into the 11th year. Well, starting the 11th year. um, it's been wonderful. I am a test center administrative proctor. We administer the state exams for licensing and certifications for the state of California. I am located in Los Angeles area of California, which is about, on good traffic is about 20-30 minutes from downtown LA. And on bad traffic it's about like 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how the 5 is or how the 405 can make it, or the 710. I
So, oh yes, go ahead.
I have three beautiful and amazing women in my life: Stacy, Haley, and Leona. I have known them for about a year now, since we all started dating and all. It's been a good year. They started being with started dating Stacy about last year, 2022, back in April is when we first met. Um, I also helped take care of my mother, who is who had suffered a stroke back in 2020, and before recently, my dad had passed away back in early of 2022 of last year. and we've just been moving along. Just me, my older brother, my uncle, just the three of us taking care of my.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah,
And
I under
the
very
fire truck went past.
no problem. No
My house is
problem.
sort of located near one of the busier streets. I'm like, yeah, I get all that traffic going by.
No worries. Well, that's all very good. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. Sorry to hear about the passing of your father. That's too bad. But the other huge question that I have is I understand that a lot of the Vision Cast people, we all kind of live all over the country. So how did you come to meet Stacy? And I'm sure that we haven't recorded it yet, but you know that we're going to record an episode where we specifically talk about this polyamorous relationship. But we haven't gotten to that yet. But why don't you tell us, how did you come to meet Stacy, being that she's not in California?
It was I was amazed. It was all through Facebook dating. Actually, it was just about a few months when I first started looking into it, and I saw her picture, her profile. She was living in Phoenix, Arizona at the time, and me and her just sort of hit it off. It's
Okay.
it's been wonderful.
Well, that's great. Well, that's really really fascinating. Yeah. And then what did you think about how you know Stacy has these other women, like Haley, and how did that whole thing come across to you, and how I'm just purely curious, how was that presented to you, by the way?
I was all accepting of it. Um, I was actually happy for her and all,
Mm-hmm.
with her getting a chance to know Haley
Mm-hmm.
and everyone else. Yeah. At first, I was like, I just wanted one girlfriend, and then after a while, just it just sort of happened as natural.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Well, that's very interesting. I'm sure that we'll talk more in depth about that once we all get together for our uh, polyamory episode or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's all fine. What else can you tell me though about your background? It sounds like you have a background in the field of IT and things like that. So, what can you tell me about your background and this licensing company for California? Like, let's go into more details about that.
All right. So, IT. Not really an IT geek. Well, I am a computer geek myself, but not
Mm-hmm.
that much of a geek. I mean, not much of an IT person. I can't go into the programs and fix all the hardware, or
Right.
go into the systems and go double check everything. I can't do that. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
that type of high tech. I'm just more of a proctor. Actually, it was my mother who got me into proctoring,
Mm-hmm.
because she was also a test proctor herself, going back from 2001, I believe, is when she started working as a test proctor, um, and been working as a proctor for, it would have been, if she would have continued on, she would have been about 20 years now, almost 20 years as a test proctor herself.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So, what is test proctoring? You keep using that term, but what is test proctoring?
A test proctor is a person who goes at a test center, who works at a testing center, for computerized testing, or writing testing. And what we do is that when we launch candidates exams, because everything's going computer, our job is to make sure that the exam session goes running smoothly. There's no computer glitches. There's no cheating, or yeah, no cheating allowed. We make sure everything's running smoothly. The security is uptight. We make sure everything's being all rules are being followed by the State Department boards. We make sure everything is just going to run smooth.
Mm-hmm. Good. And how did you get into that? Like originally, like what, you know, why that particular job? Did that job just come to you, or did your mother just suggest it to you, or how did it come into being that you needed to do that?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a very good question. It all turns out it went back as far as when I first started. The main
Mm-hmm.
reason why I became a proctor is because I owed money. I owed money to the school, to my college, and had to
Okay.
repay because I had the Pell Grant here in the
Mm-hmm.
state of California, which was about I think I had 1,800 or was it
Mm-hmm.
no about $1,000, and I failed all my classes, and I actually owed that money back to the college,
All
which
righty.
I owed about like 300 ish on that student part,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to pay it back. So mom told me like, hey, I need a job, so she hired me on.
Okay. Good. Good. And then did you have to go through some sort of training to learn how to proctor these various exams and things like that?
I, yeah, it was the training was not that hard. It was actually quite easy for me to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was a little bit of tedious work. I had a few good coworkers to help me out. Had my mom gave me a few extra pointers,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the job just stuck with it.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Cool. So by doing all of these proctoring, I'm sure that you have some, specific opinions about, the use of AI and technology. So let's dive deep down into that rabbit hole and really bring out some of your opinions about AI and technology and society and things like that. So, so what can you tell me about your opinions of AI and things like that? Mm-hmm.
Well, with AI, the way that is going now is everything's being advanced. We are
Mm-hmm.
having advanced technologies. Are having automated. Practically everything in this world is going to be start going on automated at one point or another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, wow, just trying to think. I think technology nowadays it's good to advance, but it's also good to drop down the level a bit. Like drop down the what would be the word? Dropping the intelligence down a bit. So make sure
Maybe.
that yeah, if we drop the intelligence down a bit, more easier for us to understand,
Mm-hmm.
we can live in society with AI. But
Mm-hmm.
if we make it too smart, it's gonna outsmart us. And if you guys ever can, if anyone has ever got a chance to watch Terminator,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or even the movie War Games, same thing. Computer
Right.
AI took over the world and almost launched nukes everybody,
Right. Right.
and we don't want that.
No. I don't know. I'm deeply concerned with some of the people in our world right now. And I'm also concerned about the technology in our world right now. And I think the problem that we're going to have is that the wrong people will get access to the right technology. And then we will have a serious problem, you know? So that's a big issue. That's a huge issue. I don't mind technology. I don't mind AI and I don't mind all these advancements.
Oh,
But
yeah.
go ahead.
Uh, Stacy's in the lobby. She should be. She hasn't been let in yet.
Thank you for telling me. Um, You know what it is? Tell her to because I reset the meeting. I reset it just to give the software a reset. Tell her to back up, go in reverse, back up and get back in. Because she's not in my waiting room. Thank you for letting me know. She's not in my waiting room, so have her come out and come back in. Um but uh let me let's actually
I'm
do
just,
you
I just sent her a text.
okay, all right, all
She
right.
should hopefully.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's that was sort of my fault for not having that password thing reset it earlier.
Yeah, well, and then
That was mine.
but then I figured it would be better for I figured it would be better for me to restart the meeting because I don't know if because sometimes that can also get it all stuck too. So that's why I did that.
Ah, okay.
Although she should have noticed, I don't know. I thought it would have showed on her end that I ended the meeting and then restarted it. So I thought it would show that I restarted it. I don't know. Anyway, um, but there she is. Um, so anyway, yes, I have some concerns about technology and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if her audio is connected, sorry about that, Stacy. I thought I needed to reset it just so that Phil could join it. So sorry for the confusion, and please, I didn't set you on mute, but please do mute yourself, and then at the end, or really in a few moments, you can come back and you can open your microphone. Anyway, yeah, we're just talking. So, Stacy, we're just talking about the role of AI in technology and things like that. Um, so anyway, that is all very interesting. One of the things that I think is very
Oh, I love my dear,
okay,
love my
Stacy.
dear Stacy too.
We love thee. We love thee. Absolutely. Stacy, thank you for being so understanding. We really appreciate that here at Aaron's Opinion, having an appreciative and understanding audience. That's really a key. So thanks for being so good natured about that. But one of the things that's, really concerning me, and I wonder if you think this is a new trend or new strange thing, is these people that are having these new, I've been hearing a lot about it, these new like AI relationships with an AI boyfriend, an AI girlfriend. What do you think of that? Because I find that to be very concerning. But what do you think of that notion?
For an AI girlfriend and AI boyfriend?
Yeah, in other words,
That's
if because
strange
there's these
theory.
apps now. I think it's very strange. There's these apps now that you can get where you can get yourself an AI girlfriend, and the AI will talk to you. What do you think about that?
I prefer more on the on hands approach.
I would too.
That's
I
why I wanted to
definitely
be with Stacy.
right. I agree. I want a real girlfriend, not an AI one. But a lot of people are going for the AI stuff these days. So I my point in saying well this is I think that shows a lot about society, and I think it shows how trusting people are of technology. If you're willing to trust technology for a relationship, then of course. Of course not. Of course not. Now, Stacy, in your case, why I'm just purely Stacy, by the way, here in this case, it would actually add more to the conversation if you unmute it so we can actually talk. So go ahead if you want. Stacy, either you can type or just unmute it. Either way, it's up to you. So, Stacy, why did you choose to download an AI girlfriend app? Simply just for fun or because you were curious or why? Tell us. Um, but I completely agree with you. I think there's a huge difference between AI and reality. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just for
welcome.
fun. It was just for fun, and that's all it was for. It was just something because I was bored and
Cool.
that I would have a little fun. That's all
Well,
it was
that's
for. It was just
well,
for fun. It wasn't. I didn't take it seriously.
Well, it's
I
only AI,
just
so you can't take it seriously. But so what can you tell me about that experience? What can you understand why some people would take an AI relationship seriously?
they must be pretty sad and lonely and bored and not really having great experiences in the real world.
Well, I
Probably.
suppose. I
Um,
suppose.
for me, it was just out of boredom, but it was just a fun thing to do, um, just for fun.
Hmm.
It was just let's play around with this and see what this is like. Cause I love playing around with AI. I have AI. I have an AI chat thingy that I ask to write stories. That's fun.
Oh, that's
And,
really cool.
and I, do the AI boyfriend and the AI girlfriend. That's also fun. But I only did it like once. It was like the girlfriend, the story thing I use all the time, and I look up things on it too, like if I'm curious about something. But like the AI girl, that was just for fun,
Right,
and I got
right.
to name my girlfriend too because there was this girl I had a crush on back in college. Her name was Sandra, so I named my AI girlfriend Sandra and made her look like the girl that I had a crush on back in college.
Hmm.
But it was just a for fun thing. It's not like being with Philip or Haley or George. It's not like any of that. It's being with them is like 10,000 times better. I mean, doesn't even compare. There's no
Of
comparison.
course not.
I agree with Stacy 110% on 111% on that.
All right.
Being with Haley and Stacy has been pretty much a blast. It's been a blast and a blessing.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, yeah, Stacey, we'll get to that when we all sit down and record our your episode where we talk about polyamory, everything I wanted to know when we go into that whole
Oh yes,
philosophical.
polyamory and LGBTQ. Yeah,
Right,
definitely.
but we'll get no, absolutely. I'm. By the way, I'm so pumped, so looking forward to sitting down with you guys all as a group and just talking about that one thing. That's going to be a fascinating conversation. Um, but anyway, do you think there's any outside of for fun? Do you think there's any practical uses for AI relationships? Do you think that technology could be used in some sort of a productive way where it actually helps society?
I don't know. I think AI could help society, but as far as like an AI relationship, no. And the app I was using was all text based, so it's like I didn't even get to hear my like um I asked my girlfriend to do sexual things, and it was all
Right.
text based. How the hell do you get turned on by something that's text based? You gotta have audio based. You gotta hear the voice. Unless you can give me an AI voice that I can actually hear moan and doing sexual stuff that's actually hot, I'm not interested.
I see. So basically, it was like sexting. It was basically an AI sext, is what it
It was
was.
basically, yeah, and like I love you and Star kisses your lips, Star gets in bed naked, what's so erotic about that?
Well, I
Nothing's erotic
Ah,
about that.
well, I don't know. You're the one that downloaded the app. I don't know. Don't ask me. I didn't
No,
download it. I don't
I know. It was just out of boredom, just to have fun and have something to do. I deleted the app within a day. I'm like, this
know.
is
Okay. So I think the point that we're making is that probably that technology is not very good, right? If it only
no.
held right.
I don't think it's
Right.
that great, but at least they're trying and at least they're learning.
I mean, the AI thing that writes stories. Now that's impressive.
Now that's chat.
Mhm.
Now, are you talking about
That's
Chat GPT?
It's similar. I have an app called Ask AI, which I think is powered
Oh
by
yes.
ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's impressive. It's written some pretty damn good stories,
Okay,
and
so
I've
how does
used it to
Ask
help
AI
me write
work?
essays and letters. Just write a story about this, and just tell them what the subject of the story, the names of the characters, if you want, and it'll write you a really good story based on what you tell it to write. I've seen it put out some really good stories. I actually wrote a story called Whispers of Freedom
Okay.
with the app.
Hmm.
And basically, it's based on a dream that I had. This is Philip's interview, and yet I'm raining on his fun.
It's so good, my dear Stacy.
See,
My
all of you work
spotlight is your
together, like the
spotlight.
like the flavor, like the flavor of you two talking and me, like it's all the same story. Like it's all working together. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's based on a dream I had about someone that I was a lover. We were lovers. I had a lesbian lover. and we were living in the Middle Ages, and it was supposed to be a secret. Like, no one was supposed to know, because back then you're not supposed to be gay and lesbian. That's just not allowed back in those days. And I was living back in those days. I had a lesbian lover. And so I based the dream off of that, except what I did, because in Iran, being gay is illegal. So I changed things around a little bit. I made the characters based in Iran. The parents arranged a marriage for one girl, and who they thought was this girl's friend was actually her girlfriend, her lover. The two of them, were making love. The parents came home, found the two girls making love, and basically said they weren't to contact each other ever again, otherwise they'd be reported to the police and something would be done about it, because it's illegal in that country. Well, in the cloak of midnight, the one lover goes and gets the other lover, and they flee to Belgium.
Okay, cool. Sounds exciting. Sounds like it just sounds like a great. It sounds like a great thriller. It really does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what city did they end up fleeing to in Belgium?
I didn't give a specific city. I just said that they fled to Belgium, and then the lovers' names were Megan and Stacy, and they fled to Belgium, and then Stacy proposed to Megan, and they were happily ever after.
Oh,
in Belgium.
Well, that's fine. That's great. That sounds really cool. So, like, I mean, you could write a lot more thrillers, like that
Oh
for
yeah.
yourself.
I
Yeah.
could write, and it's even helped me give ideas for like romantic love letters to surprise Philip and Haley and George and Leona. Well, Leona, I haven't done one for her yet because
She hasn't had a cell phone yet, but she will.
doesn't have a cell phone yet, but she will eventually. But yeah,
How does someone in our modern times not have a cell phone? There's got to be what's the excuse behind that? There's got to be a story
he
there.
lives in a group home and they have certain rules. And
Okay.
she will be able to get a cell phone back, but one of her roommates basically was pulling a bunch of pranks, and so they took cell phones away from everybody.
What
And
the
so
hell?
everybody had to earn them back individually. Yeah.
Oh la la. I know this is, you're going to say this is none of my business, which is fine. How did this Leona, I'm sorry to be so curious, but what's that story? How did she end up in a group home? I mean,
I don't know the whole story behind it.
that's fine. I would just wonder, that sounds like a podcast episode right there, to get your phone taken away. And that sounds like quite an episode.
I don't really know, and I don't know I could see if Leona wants to be interviewed. She'd have to be interviewed by phone, though, right now. But you could do that with Zoom. Like, I know you can. And I'd love for you to meet her. But yeah, it's a long story, and
I see.
I don't
Well,
even
so
know.
now how did you come? I was asking Philip too, like, Stacey, how did you come to meet this Leona? How did you come in contact with her in the first place?
I met her on Facebook Live. I was doing a live stream, and she showed up in my Facebook Live, and the rest is history.
All right, sounds good to me. Well,
So yeah, she had a tablet at the time. The tablets were
right.
broken. So
Interesting. All right. Well, that will definitely be very, very interesting for
yeah,
sure.
and if we could do the interview on a weekend, we need to plan it like in advance, like plan it a ways out. That way, I can tell Leona, and then you can meet her.
That is fine. But I mean, you're talking about the big group interview where I ask you guys to go through the whole breakdown of polyamory, right?
Polyamory and LGBTQ. Yeah,
Right.
she's part of that.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm gonna
So
see
we
if
need
we can
to.
get her.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, just to clarify, it's up to you guys which
Yeah.
people out of your group chooses to come, and to be overly clear, it's all up to you guys what information you choose to give out or not give out. So I mean,
I know.
it's all
We
up
just
to you
need to
guys.
figure it out. We need to plan it out.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
it definitely has to be a weekend.
Well, it definitely can be. It can be with me. See, the thing is, as long as you work with me on a day and time, I can basically record every single day of the week. I mean, unless I have an appointment or something, but I can basically record anytime. So we can definitely do a weekend interview. Why? Now this Leona person, is she like on the East Coast time or on the
Yeah,
Pacific end or?
she is East Coast. She's in Massachusetts.
Oh my. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine.
Yep.
Back
I'm going
so
west.
back to you, Philip.
Mm-hmm.
Since this was at one point we started with you and then we kind of went off on a little tangent there, luckily.
Yep.
So yeah, so what do you think about everything that we've gone over and everything I've said? What are some of your opinions? You seem kind of you seem kind of shy, and I just wonder why you're seeming so shy.
Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm shy. I'm just trying to focus. There are certain. This is another part of me
Okay.
that will stay out. It's because I also have a bit of ADHD,
Me
of
too.
attention deficit hyperactivity
Hmm.
disorder, and
Hmm.
when it comes to certain things, it's just my mind goes blank. It literally just goes, "What was that idea?" I had to go back to that idea,
Hmm.
or anything else. But when it comes to everything that has happened,
Hmm.
and with our current conversations been going through,
Hmm.
AIs is definitely it is a step that our society is going in the right direction. But I think they should start taking it baby steps, not like
Right.
leaps and bounds
Hmm.
like it
Hmm.
is now.
Right. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, everything seems to go in leaps and bounds and not baby steps. That's kind of the problem. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. um. All very interesting.
Hmm.
So where have you traveled to around the world, Philip? You strike me as someone who would be kind of into traveling.
I was at one point in my life. The only brief part was when I was a kid. I did travel when I was with my grandparents or with my mom visiting
Hmm.
family members out of state or in state. I have traveled as far as Sacramento for California, but I have traveled to the Grand Canyon, to Williams, Arizona with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And that's
Good.
far as only two states that I've ever traveled to.
I see.
And
I
one of my
see.
very future trips I want to take is I do want to go to Cincinnati, Ohio to see Stacy and Haley.
Right. Yeah, they're in Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Right. Extremely interesting. So,
Hmm.
in addition to or apart from proctoring these exams, these IT exams for the state of California, what are some of your other, hobbies or interests? What's a hobby that you do that I would never expect you to do?
Well, one of my personal hobbies that I like doing
Hmm.
is I like playing Magic the Gathering trading cards. I have a
Oh.
huge collection of cards that I tend to make decks with. I hang out with my friends, play card games with them, and or play video games from time to time when I'm bored.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, I've heard of that game Magic. So why don't you walk through the details of that game? It's quite interesting. So go through the history of that if you want. Yeah.
Yeah. So Magic the Gathering has been around since 1993, if not a little bit younger, maybe 1990s when it first started going through. You had the alpha set, then you had beta. Like the most expensive cards in the game, especially a Black Lotus card, it's worth about nowadays it's about 300 grand.
What?
Yep.
No, come on, Philip. That's silly. A card is worth $300,000.
When you pull it out from its when you pull it out from its pack, the original box and its original
Hmm.
package, and you pull that out, that card is literally worth 300 grand. It
Right.
costs as much as almost a house. Actually, it's about not three. It's like like 100 to 300 grand. And
But it's
then
a card,
there's
it's a piece of cardboard. How can it be worth $300,000? So
I
this
don't
this
know.
definitely requires an explanation.
I have absolute no idea why it was worth that much because a lot of people tend to build decks around it and why it was so powerful. It
That
can
is
literally,
weird.
and it's weird, yes, but
Mm-hmm.
Magic the Gathering is definitely one of those type of card games.
Mm-hmm.
And they built now they have like over like 2 million, 3 million. It's like in the upper
Mm-hmm.
millions of cards nowadays since the set's been around since like
Mm-hmm.
1990 to
Mm-hmm.
now. There have been over thousands of sets.
Wow.
I started playing since 2013, which is only
Wow.
about 10 years ago. Is when I first started playing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
And how I got started playing Magic was because of friends in college.
Yeah.
One of my
I
first years in college,
mm-hmm.
I saw people playing this card game, and
Yeah, it does, Stacy. It does, okay. Baseball, there's memorabilia, there's
mhm.
World Series, there's a real reason. I can understand a baseball card would be worth thousands, but so this is why I was wondering why people at my college took it so seriously because this is a serious game. So can you go through the rules and kind of explain the theme of the game and like how it all works?
All right, hold on. Let me grab some of my cards. I have my
And
cards
by
right
and by
next
the
to
way,
me.
and by the way, why don't you, if you want, you can even turn on your camera so I can actually see it and have an idea. Yeah.
All right. All right. So on here,
Okay.
hi everybody. So this
Mm-hmm.
is me,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the cards I'm about to pull, like I don't even have the Black Lotus, unfortunately, but I do
Uh-huh.
have several cards. And let's say I have, is it this one? Yeah, just trying to figure out a good card. And a lot of cards are also shiny as well because
They're
they're
like holographic. Yeah.
holographic, yeah. Let's see what the cards I'm not using. Okay, so I have one of these cards.
Wow.
So this is
Okay.
so this is a Magic the Gathering card.
Uh-huh.
It has power, toughness. It has a creature. It has It has rule. It does have a lot of rules,
Mm-hmm.
and I could easily go on and on rules. It literally has been one of my favorite games of the last
This is
10 years
very
now. So
similar.
yeah,
It's like a more serious version of Yu-Gi-Oh.
pretty much, if not better.
Right.
And there's also hundreds more of card games that's been out, Buddy Fight or Vanguard or Pokemon,
Right.
and that's been
Mm-hmm.
around for like years. But nowadays there are certain.
So so the magic though behind magic. So like how is a game of magic structured, by the way?
The game of Magic is structured. It's structured by cards. There are creature cards. There are instant cards. There are sorcery cards, enchantments, artifacts, um, and of course land. The basic land is what I'm about to pull right now. This is a land card. It
Uh-huh.
has the name Swamp,
Well,
which
that's
is
kind of what it looks like to
good.
my well with me being blind with my usable vision, that's what it looks like. It looks like a swamp, a picture of a swamp.
Yep, it is a
Right.
swamp, and it has
Mhm.
black
I
for
see
the.
it there.
Oh, so yeah, so on here, this is stats for black mana. There are 5 colors of mana: white, blue, black, green, and red.
Mm-hmm.
And each color represents its own type of land. Like with 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 white mana, it's plains. Blue mana is island. Black is swamp. Green is forest. Mountain is for red. And each
Mm-hmm.
mana of combination, you could summon bigger creatures, will have like more power and toughness to make it. The power is pretty much the attack, and the toughness is basically your defense.
Mm-hmm.
If a creature's attack goes over or matches or goes, if it matches or it goes over the opponent card toughness for that creature that it was blocking, the defending monster is destroyed. Same thing will go with the opposite way. If the defending monster has higher power than the attacking monster, then the attacking monster will be destroyed.
And then the card gets discarded, I guess.
Yeah,
the card gets...
it goes into a graveyard, yes.
Okay.
There are several formats of Magic the Gathering. There are very, very several formats that card games are played. There's standard, modern, vintage, Commander, and that's the one I'm currently playing is Commander, which is 100 card set, and you build with 100 cards. Each player in a standard match, decks can range about 60 cards to about 60 to 80, depending on how big you can shuffle a deck. Like someone could do like this, just power shuffle it, or like that. That counts as a shuffle. Yeah.
No, this is really cool, man. This is super cool. I remember when I was in college, there was this guy. I'll call him. I'll say that his name was Sam. Close enough. Anyway, Sam was into Magic, and I remember when he won a Magic, like a public Magic tournament, like in person, he posted on Facebook, and there was all over his wall. Oh, congrats, man. Congrats. You know, it was a big deal when he won the whole tournament. Yeah. 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 That's really cool. And then how do you find people to like battle with and play with in this Magic game?
You could go to local card shops. A lot of people will go on a Friday night, usually at a local card shop that actually sells Magic cards mostly. And people just go there just to go play. Believe Friday Night Magic goes from 7 p.m. Pacific time or whatever state it is at 7 p.m. till like 10, 11.
I see. Wow, I didn't know that it was so serious that the whole league. So is there like a whole like professional league of people? Like, can you make money playing this?
You actually can. I actually seen it happen. I was actually at a couple of those tournaments.
Right.
And of course I wasn't that good. I got knocked out early. Yeah, but there are people that actually do play this professionally, and they have won pretty much like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. Depending on the tournament prize.
Okay, that's what the obsession is, because people know that if they get good enough, you can make money playing the game.
Correct, and that's what a lot of people would do.
That is deeply fascinating. Yeah. Well, for us blind folks out there, what do you think? Do you think there's accessible Magic cards with like Braille or like raised print, or how does the sport handle disability?
I've been trying to figure this out myself. That way I could get Stacy or Haley or anyone will play. Because one thing I want to do is I want to teach. I want to teach people how to play this. It's a fun and weird obsession I have with this game.
Yeah, it's dork. It's like it's like Yu-Gi-Oh for adults.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Totally, 100% agree.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because Yu-Gi-Oh is for like middle school. Yu-Gi-Oh is for like 12-year-olds. You know.
Yeah. But you do see adults play this too. I've had a few friends that actually played that back in college, and they still do.
Yeah, just for the entertainment value.
Just for the entertainment value, yeah.
Well, whatever floats your boat. For me, my entertainment is podcasting, right? Creating this content for you or listening to everyone else. I don't know. This is my magic.
Exactly.
But I do admit, Philip, trust me, I completely support you in your Magic career, man. And if you won a Magic tournament, we would definitely promote it here at Aaron's Opinion. It would be very entertaining if you won, because then I could say,
Yeah.
well, I actually know a guy, because you know how it's not so much that I want to play Magic myself, which I don't. But then again, if you wanted to teach me, I'd be more than happy to learn. It's just,
Yeah.
but it would actually be cooler if you actually spent the time getting good enough to win a tournament. So that way I can like advertise it on Aaron's Opinion. I can say like, and I even know a guy on my podcast who won thousands of dollars playing Magic. That would be that would be cool to know somebody. I used to know someone who was serious about it. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows? That person himself could have already won thousands of dollars playing this, if not more. It could have been millions if he saved up and everything else.
Well, what, you secretly won millions playing Magic and you just don't want to tell me?
I think for the national tournaments,
Yeah.
like the world tournaments, I think it is about 500,000,
Oh
if
my
not
God.
more. And prizes, I'm not too sure. I never get invited, so I don't know. I've been hearing this over the years.
Yeah. Well, it kind of reminds me it reminds me of any other competitive card game. If you get that good, then you get invited to the big tournament out in Vegas, right? Probably at
the World Poker Tournament. Yep.
Right, like Caesar's
World Poker
Palace or the Bellagio or any of those famous places. Yeah. Yeah, but you'd have to be really, really, really good to get invited. And then, of course, everybody else is really, 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 really good. So it's really hard.
Same thing with bowling. Bowling's almost the same thing. Anything I would consider a sport is definitely you're gonna need a whole lot of practice. Like
Right.
bowling,
With Magic,
baseball.
though, it seems to be that Magic is about pulling. It's about having the right cards and just having the right luck of the draw, but then strategizing of what cards you use at the right time, right?
Correct.
Right.
And you don't know what your opponent's gonna play, so you got to anticipate their move and what cards they have to try and counter what they're gonna do.
Right.
And there are lots of counter spells in Magic, probably tens of thousands.
That's super cool, man. That's super, super, super cool. No, that's a really, what would be interesting. We've never really delved into the history of some of these games, but when you look at the history of card games and playing cards and where that all comes from, it's all very, very interesting. My paternal grandfather was basically a professional cribbage player at the end of his life. So it's similar to that. You get good enough, you get to go to the big tournaments and things like that. But the problem is that at that level, when you get good enough to go to the tournaments, then certain tournaments you have bad luck at, you have good luck, and we would joke around about that. There was this place where he would go his one cribbage tournament. He would always go to it in Baltimore, Maryland, when I used to live in Maryland, and he would always go to this one place in Baltimore, and he'd always send back an email. Yep, did the usual at cribbage again. I lost that one too every year. So there's just certain tournaments that are like cursed for certain players. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But coming back to that question at hand, when it comes to the accessibility,
right,
it's really not that much. I don't even know, but if I find a way.
I think Stacy, here, can you unmute and say what you said or type it again? I know that you wrote something and I didn't catch it. Stacy said something.
Basically, I said that if, the way Phillip and I have to do it for now, we kind of have to play as a tag team.
Okay.
Which isn't really how. It's not really how Magic is supposed to be played. But because I want to be involved in it and I'm curious about it, basically we're a team. So we played. We did a virtual game one time. He was with his friends and his nephew, and I kind of Phillip kind of took me under his wing, and we kind of were a tag team.
Yeah, and you were nudging them against me. Like the awesome girlfriend that you are.
Team. And then, of course, we were a tag team, and then I rooted for his nephew.
Yeah, and he ended up winning that game.
Yeah.
Thanks to that, Stacy, he won that.
Well, you weren't being much of a partner, so of course I rooted for your nephew. If you'd actually be more of a team player and explain what's going on, then maybe I would actually root for you instead of your nephew. I like the fact that was it him or one of your friends that did 11 damage? My
Oh yeah,
lucky number of damage. That was cool.
that was probably my friend. That was my friend Gabe. That was my friend Gabe that did that.
Yeah, well, how about 11 times 11 times 11
11.
even more?
Oh yes, and there are ways of doing that too.
Well, that is really, really fascinating. So how many when you sit down to play a game of Magic, like how many people can play Magic like all at once, like against each other all at once?
We've had with me and my friends, we usually go 4 players.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point in my life, back when I first started playing, back where I was still learning and playing at the same time, back in college, which is probably another main reason why I was failing my classes because I was playing Magic.
See, I was see it was it's really
Yep.
not see it's really not see it's none of my damn business. But I was about to ask Philip, how did you manage to flunk out of college playing too
Well,
many card games?
exactly. Yep.
Okay, well
Too
that's
many
kind
card
of
games,
cute.
got
That's kind of
studying.
cute. And you know what? That's not the end of the world, man. But
No,
I
it
can
wasn't.
understand where you would have to pay the money back,
Yeah.
which is why you got into the Magic game so that you could make the money back for the money that you owed back to the universe. See, if you just stuck with if you would just stick with the card games, you would just play cards all the time. You'd have a lot more money and things like that.
Yeah.
Jeez. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yes. Yes.
mm-hmm,
Yes. Um, I totally agree with that.
mm-hmm.
Good, good way of knowing that. And yeah, if it wasn't for me playing Magic in college,
Yeah.
I probably would have passed my classes, and I probably would have been a proctor at one point.
Right, but I thought you are a proctor now, though.
No,
What
no,
happened
if
to
I
that?
never
Oh.
played Magic, if I never got into it,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been probably the effects of me going into proctoring. If I didn't fail my
Ah.
classes, if I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
passing my class, if I was passing my classes and
Mm-hmm.
not playing Magic, I probably would have been not been a proctor.
Okay, I see. I see. Well, life does these mysterious things to us all that we don't fully understand. Certain things happen and don't happen. So it is very, very, very strange. Mhm. Um,
Can't make lemonade without lemons.
I guess, or you can't proctor an exam without a magic card. I guess, everybody,
Yep.
everybody
Can't
needs their
proctor
magic
without
card.
magic. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of this is really fascinating. I've never, that one guy that I did know I didn't really know the guy. I just knew of him and I knew that he won some magic tournament and things like that, you know. But anyway, though, I never knew what became of the guy. But I can tell you that, yeah, it was a huge deal when he won that tournament. Yeah. hmm
Hmm.
So, yeah. Anyway, I'm sure that there are other blind people out there who are also interested in learning about the history of magic and things like that. So I mean, no other blind people have really brought it up. Is it also a game though that you can play like on your iPhone? Is there an Apple app like equivalent of it?
As far as I know, there isn't, but a lot of people
No, that's
would.
surprising.
Yeah, but people do tend to use not really play, more
Mm-hmm.
of more of like a collect. I tell you the truth, I've really not had paid attention to it myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know.
I
That's
see.
something I would now know if I get into it.
Because a lot of these card games, there's an app for chess and an app for everything. So there probably is an app where at least there's some version of the game that's played, on. Is there even like an online version where at least you can just play like online, like on a website?
Oh, yes, there is actually. A lot of people tend to go on to, which I actually do have myself right now. I
Mm-hmm.
do have a website called, what was it? Oh, it's a website called tappedout.net.
Okay. And what's that?
It is a website where people can build decks, get feedback on what cards that they are wanting to know about.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I sort of learned on how to actually build a good deck
Mhm.
is I went on there, looked up cards.
Wow. Oh.
I
Huh.
looked up cards. Sorry
Mhm.
for the noise interference. Looks like my
No,
phone
no, it
call is
doesn't. It
getting
doesn't
some
bother
background.
me. It doesn't. It's not. It's not really audible on my end too
All right.
much. So no worries.
Okay. So as I was saying, I tend to go on there just to go build decks, just see what new combos are out there. A lot of people will go just to find a good combo.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you read a lot of books about chess? Because you're the type of guy that would love chess. If you're into Magic, you would love chess.
I've actually have not gotten to any books on chess, but I have gotten
Hmm.
into. My uncle Tony's the one who actually taught me how to play chess,
Right. Hmm.
which was years and years ago. I would say about 2003
Hmm.
when he first taught me how to play chess.
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
only 13 at the time,
Right. Right. That's good. That's good. Hmm. Hmm.
and I enjoy playing it. I never actually got into books on it. I would have wanted to, but I'm
I
not
mean, I'm
too
just saying
of a
because there's
reader.
not. I'm not even talking about books with where you learn about the strategy of chess itself, but there's just some great history books where where you can learn about how the game was developed and all the different combinations. Anyway, the game with the most combinations of moves is actually. Do you know what the game is in society that has the most number of moves you can possibly make?
I'm probably going to say it's either Go
It is.
or
Let's go.
Let's Go. Yeah.
Because there's no limit to the amount of different combinations of stones that can be moved in different directions on that game. It's just how that game mathematically works out. Now,
Yeah.
chess has 64 squares, okay,
Mm-hmm.
which means that and each piece of chess only has certain abilities and things that it's able to do. So
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing is, although you would think that chess is an unlimited landscape, it's not. There's a mathematical limitation, which is why chess is so competitive because there's limits.
Mm-hmm.
So probably, it would be interesting to study mathematically, how many different combinations of cards can you get with Magic, right? That would be kind of interesting to come to an understanding of that,
Oh yes, and there are
Mhm.
probably hundreds, if not thousands.
Right. So you do definitely have to focus and pay attention to every move and really strategize what cards you play and don't play. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. That's really
And,
cool. And
yep.
are there referees that like officiate these games or what?
Actually, yeah, it depends.
Hmm.
Usually for rule masters,
Hmm.
it's just us, or sometimes we just go on the wiki page to look up
Hmm.
the card ruling
Hmm.
and everything else. We go into that method. This is me and my friends would do
Hmm.
that. But if you're at a local card tournament, at a sanctioned card tournament,
Hmm.
there are indeed some referees that will help on the rulings and on cards or abilities.
That's really cool. I can see where this would be a lot of fun, actually. I can see where it would really be a really good way to think about things and also kind of relaxing, but kind of have that edge to it too, that competitive edge with some creativity. Yeah. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with
Hmm.
that because I actually have built a couple of decks that would
I think
be
I
part of
think I
that.
think you're really glad to have come here just to talk about magic. You should have told me you want to talk about. Why didn't you tell me that you want to come to my podcast and do an episode about Magic, the card game? Everything I wanted to know, because this is mostly, dude. You have let me just tell you, you have really no interest in in your job, but
I do have interest. I do have an interest in the job. I do have that interest. That
just
just
giving. I'm
it
just
helps my
giving you a little bit of.
paychecks.
I'm giving. I gotta make this one. I gotta
Yeah.
give you a little bit
Yeah.
of a hard time. But mostly, you're interested in playing Magic. Mostly, you're interested in
Yes.
coming home from work just to play Magic. Mostly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, I mean, more power to you, man. If you get good enough where you're able to make a couple $100 on the weekends on a Friday night, hanging out with friends playing the game. Hey, no harm there. We all
Yeah.
need a couple $100,
Yeah, or spend about $100 or $1,000.
Well, okay, but then if
session.
you're gonna waste it though, that's the problem. So, but then don't waste
Yeah.
it. If you win it, try to save it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
True. True. Yeah, and the
yeah.
booster box nowadays is going for about $100.
The what box?
A booster box.
A booster box.
A booster box has about 32 packs.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it 36? I think it's 36 packs with 18 cards each.
Okay.
And from there, you get the combinations. Will go from there, like the endless.
So when you sit down at a Magic tournament, man, like how do you like which deck do you pull out of your pocket to use? Like how do you tell which deck to use then?
I would, for that, it depends on what format they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say they're playing standard. I'll go through my standard sets. I'll go through the sets that is part of standard.
Right.
I'll look into each and every single set that has been out for that year, and I'll make a deck around something, like around like a creature type or around an ability,
and
I'll just start building around there.
Well, that is really interesting. So it gives you a lot of, you have a lot of creativity and wiggle room to be able to develop.
Yep.
These different
and with the job, it's like, hey, I got money to spend on those cards, because sometimes some cards are worth like 10 cents.
Phillip, you're proving my point without trying to prove my point. You love Magic.
I do.
You're completely hooked.
If I got so good though. Magic, I would have gotten one.
If you had a what for Magic?
If I had a tattoo. If I would have gotten a tattoo for Magic, of course.
Well, go get one. Well, I'm not stopping you. You can go get one, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I probably could one day.
Well, why not? Go to your favorite parlor and say you want like a tattoo of your favorite Magic card on. But you know what though? No, you wouldn't want that though. Yeah. Because then all your opponents would think that's your poker face, or that's your like shtick or something. So no, you really can't have a tattoo unless you get it tattooed like where nobody can see, unless you get tattooed like on your ass or something.
Oh yeah.
Then you can be sitting. No, seriously though, because you'd have to have it either on your ass or on your back, so that when you're playing the game, nobody gets suspicious that you have that secret card power. See.
Yeah,
that's kind of the problem with that.
And with that, it's like, oh, I get the actual magic flowing through me for that. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So is there like a whole national league that like ranks all the players from all the states and things like that?
I haven't actually got into it, but there is probably a list. There probably is a list, if not several, of rankings of who's the top player, how many tournaments have they won, how much money they've gained during these tournaments, and what's their deck, what strategies have they gone through.
And competitive chess is the same thing too. You can research what plays the person made, and then from that, then you're able to really tell and understand how the person will be able to behave, in their next match. Well, Phillip, I got to tell you, Phillip Ramirez, cool, man. Hey, I didn't think I'd be learning so much about Magic. Thank you for giving me thank you for basically walking me through my magical education. Now I really feel like I'm a full magical person now. Thanks, man. If you can ask me only one more question, I am out of time, by the way, but ask me only one more question to make me sweat, to see if I'm really worth my salt as a podcaster. What do you want to know?
What is your favorite type of card game, and or what is your favorite type of board game?
Card game that I love. I'm going to say I've never played it. Except for one time, I confess that I only played it once in person once. Favorite card game for me would definitely be Blackjack. Definitely 21. It's the same thing like you said about Magic. A lot of it's the strategy, the strategy behind Blackjack is really fascinating. I would say that. Board game, I don't play it, but best board game ever, definitely chess. Definitely. Yeah.
And I got one more. If we ever do being in person, do you want to play a game of Go against each other?
I don't want to play Go, but if we met in person, I would love it if you would sit me down over a glass of beer and help me learn how to play Magic. I would love it if you showed me magic cards in real life and showed me. See, because I have usable vision. So, so with some of my usable vision, I would be able to see some of the cards and still be able to get a lot out of it. So you can definitely teach me magic in person, man. You know, you should start. You should start. You should start dude. You should make a YouTube video where you introduce the game and try to get people to learn from you on YouTube. Like that would be a really fun thing. Try to make YouTube videos where you educate people about the history of that card game. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what? I never actually thought of that. But
well, I thought of it for you. Go for it.
I'm now considering that now.
I would be curious to see what results you would get. Probably a lot. All right. Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Hey, if someone wants to get in touch with Phillip, how would they do that?
Best ways to get in touch with me is either through email or through Facebook. I am on Facebook, not at work.
Or not when you're playing Magic. Don't bother him when he's playing his Magic.
Magic. Yep. Right. Yep. Or out on dates with Stacy. Best ways to keep in contact with me is either is through my email at wmonkey1990@gmail.com. That is my email. If you have any questions on anything, especially Magic related, hey, I'm more than happy to assist.
So wonderful.
And if you also look up Phillip Ramirez, PhillipRamirez, if you want to look at me on Facebook, I'll be more than happy to talk with you.
Thank you so much, Phillip. Honored to have you on the show. All right, everybody. Well, take care. Thank you so much. Another great episode. We'll be back soon. Stay safe out there. Keep podcasting if you're a podcaster. And if you're Phillip, or if you love playing your Magic cards, have fun. Best of luck to you in your next Magic game, man. Take care, everyone. Help one person today. Help 1 million people tomorrow. I want to say, if you're still watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Like the video, comment below, share it, subscribe it, and tickle the bell notification to know when I go live, when we go live next here at Aaron's Opinion. I don't have a Magic deck yet, but I might someday. You never know. Keep watching Aaron's Opinion. Help one person today. Help 1 million people tomorrow.